Alright, hey everybody, this video is a long time coming if you've been following me for the past week or so. I've been talking about this guy who invented a time management system, and I want to take a minute to show it to you and explain both how utterly absurd this product is and also how ingenious this guy is. Because he has managed to pawn off the idea that he created a 700-year-old technology, and he's now selling it as a $100 time management system. And so the way he's selling it is fantastic. And so I want you to draw a couple of things from it, but I want to show it to you first, and then we'll talk in more detail. So let's take a look. So this thing is called the Essington glass. And if you look at it and you say, Jason, that looks like an hourglass. It's because it is an hourglass. That's all it is just an hourglass. And yet this guy came out and has managed to, as of the time of this writing, he claims to have made over $300,000 in pledge donations, but he's showing here about $200,000 on Kickstarter. Now, what is the Essington glass? Well, let's listen to what he has to say about it. Here's what I want you to pay very close attention to. It's not the product, it's the story. The story is what makes the difference. So listen to this guy sell you on the idea that he created the 700-year-old technology, otherwise known as the hourglass.
I'm Rudy Marsh, and this is the Essington glass. Here's the story of how it changed my life. Until about 3 years ago, I had a middle-of-the-road kind of life. Deep down, I knew I had the potential for more, but to be honest, I was just too comfortable to be ambitious. After my son was born, something woke up inside of me. I knew I had to defeat my laziness and become someone worth looking up to. After a year of reading everything I could get my hands on about productivity and habits, I realized I needed to find my own keystone habit, some small tweak in my life that would set off a cascade of transformative changes.
So you see how incredible this is. He starts off talking about how he was lazy and apathetic and he had a life-changing event. And this is common when you hear stories told that there's a before and then there is some sort of catastrophic event that causes or necessitates change. And whether we're talking about selling a Snuggie or whether we're creating a feature-length movie, it's all the same. They're just creating some sort of conflict that must be resolved. And in this case, he was apathetic. He wasn't anybody to look up to. He hadn't done much with his life, and now he has a son, and so he has to decide. He has to get more productive. But how does he do that, right? So he goes on this journey, this journey struggle, and this is common too in copywriting as well and in storytelling. Is that there is some sort of quest that someone goes on. And in this case, his quest was to spend over a year reading every book he could get his hands on in terms of productivity, and then trying to figure out what he was going to do that would cause this cascade of change in his life. Of course, the struggle doesn't stop there, of course.
My search for a keystone habit was grueling. I tried everything from running at 5 a.m. to eating zero sugar for a month. Finally, I came across the idea of time boxing, a simple but powerful technique where you focus on a single task for 25 minutes straight. I was incredibly productive during these 25-minute sprints, but like everything else, I just couldn't get the habit to stick. Soon I realized that the timer I was using actually held the key to my success.
So again, he finds the key, the secret that you have to do is you have to do time chunking. Now, this is something that I'm very familiar with. This is something that I teach, something that I do every single day. What I'm doing right now is part of a time chunk, which is creating content for you guys that teaches you about influence, persuasion, copywriting, and marketing. So time chunking is absolutely an imperative thing, but what's the major problem with time chunking? Is people have struggle sticking with it. It's frustrating because, and there's a million different tools out there that you can buy. You could just set a timer on your phone, but he's got a $100 solution for you that looks something like an hourglass, and that's what he's going to talk about next.
After over a year of research, struggle, and nearly quitting several times, it took only a single week for me to finally form my keystone habit with what I now call the Essington glass. My goal for the Essington glass was to create a timer that made forming the time boxing habit as easy and enjoyable as possible.
Now you see how he takes credit for for the Essington glass. He's taking credit for the technology that he didn't invent. All he did was go out and build one for you to buy from him. That's literally all he did. And he talks about some of the differentiators. He's got what he calls a 4 million iron nanospheres in there. So it's not like little beads of sand, it's a nanosphere. And he'll talk about it here in a minute and how the sound it makes triggers your mind. In the end of the day, it's just an hourglass. And he's talking about how incredibly productive he was, and in just a week he solved all of his problems. Let's continue listening.
It's beautiful artwork, hand-blown from a single piece of glass. The value it brings is similar to a quality gold pen in a writer's hand. As you turn it over, you are immediately greeted with the soothing white noise of the millions of steel nanospheres bouncing off the glass in every direction. This sends a clear trigger to your brain that it's time for hyper-focus mode, time to get things done. After creating the time boxing habit 3 months ago, my life has been incredible. I've been more productive than I've ever been in my life. I've read 27 books. I wrote my first book, Research Heavy Health Guide. I launched 2 software businesses after learning how to code in PHP. I created 2 business partnerships in foreign markets, which I've never done before, and learned basic Russian. And of course, I launched this Kickstarter with a product that I'm truly proud of. The change to my life has been better than I could have ever imagined.
Okay, this is where it just gets, if he wasn't over the top enough, I mean, think about the stones on this guy. This guy literally is claiming he invented the hourglass. And that since he's invented it and he's implemented it in 3 months, listen to the list of things that he's done. I wrote it down. He read 27 books in 3 months. Not impossible if all you're doing is reading, or if you're reading like tiny little short comic books. He wrote his own book in that time. In addition, he also learned PHP, launched 2 businesses, created 4 partnerships, learned Russian, and launched the Kickstarter for this product. Now you tell me how believable that is. It's absurd. It's nonsense. There's no possible way by using, and he dedicates all of it to the fact that he can turn over and time crunch in 20-minute segments his life. It is an absolutely absurd proposition. And yet $192,000 worth of people gave him money for it. Now, I won't play you the rest of it because it doesn't really matter. It's just him talking about, hey, I really want to bring this to the world and I want to help other people, da-da-da-da-da-da. Here's what I want you to take away. Hey, number 1. If there are enough people out there that will get, how many people was it? It was 2,279 backers gave him almost $200,000 for a piece of technology that they could buy at any Target. Now you tell me, if there are 2,000 people willing to give this guy a penny, do you think that how can you say to me, oh, I don't think people would want what I have. Oh, I don't think there's a buyer from. Oh, I don't think they would really. Oh, I don't think they would pay that. It's ridiculous. They will pay untold amounts of money for absolutely ridiculous garbage, for stuff that they could buy anywhere for a fraction of the cost. They're listening to a guy claim that he read 27 books, started 4 companies, and learned Russian in 3 months after learning how to turn over an hourglass. You don't think they'll give you money for what you do? You don't think you're undercharging for what you do? Oh, you are. You are, my friend. And the second thing that I want to get across to you is this. All right? The story is what matters. You see, every entrepreneur that he's selling to, every person who struggles with time management and getting stuff done, everybody who's got more stuff to do than they got hours in a day is dealing with the same thing he's dealing with. And all of them are looking for a solution. And so by telling the story where I was where you were at, then I had a traumatic event, and I went on a long journey, and what I discovered was I needed this, but it didn't stop there. I failed again. And it wasn't until I found this one thing that the transformation really happened. And then within a week, what he's really saying is instantaneously. Instantaneously, my whole life changed. I read 27 books. I wrote a book. I learned PHP and Russian. I started 4 companies and this Kickstarter, launched 2 businesses, all in 3 months. And oh boy, if you get my product and you give me $100, I'll do the same for you. Now here's the thing. I'm pretty stinking sure that whatever it is you're selling to people is a whole lot more valuable than what this guy is offering to the world. And yet they gave him almost 200 grand, $250,000 nearly. Okay? Use the same tools he used to milk people out of 200 grand and use it to provide some actual value and change to the world. You see, one of the reasons that I teach what I teach is because I know that there are a lot of people out there like this guy who are using the skills of influence, persuasion, good copywriting to suck money out of an economy without providing anything in return. Every snake oil salesman, every huckster, every sham artist knows how to do this, and they're experts at it. And they come off looking so authentic and so heartfelt, when in reality their only mission in life is to separate you from your money. And then there are other people like you, who are trying to truly improve the condition of people's lives, trying to truly provide value in excess of what they charge. But you don't know any of this stuff. You're not an expert at it, not like this guy. And so you find yourself struggling every single day, trying to get clients, trying to get them on the phone, trying to convince them that what you've got is valuable. When in reality, the template's already there. You already know how to do it. And so I want you to first and foremost, just take this as a lesson of what's important and what to focus on, and that you are far less than you could be today because you don't know this skill. And then secondly, just subscribe to this page. You can go to my jasonstapleton.com and sign up if you want to. I don't really care about that. I just want you to understand the necessity of what this guy has done, because that's where the money is. The money is in the story. The money is in being able to influence and persuade. The money is in knowing what this guy knows and what most of you watching this video have not become an expert at. And once you learn it, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to be someone that nobody can touch, because you're going to have combined high quality product, real value, and the copywriting knowledge, the influence and persuasion that all of these scam artists have into one cohesive sales process that just crushes it. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you all. Subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.